Welcome to the world of speed hill climbing. Here at Gurston Down, in the heart of the Wiltshire countryside, Nadine Geary will be showing you some of the cars from the BARC Southwest Centre popular venue. And in the commentary box we'll be hearing from Gurston's regular commentator, Jerry Sturman. Gurston is like no other hill climb in the country because it actually has a downhill start. The fastest cars can reach speeds of 130 miles per hour down here, and over at the finish line, 1100 yards further on, they can top 150. Speed hill climbing is all about man and machine against the clock, covering a narrow stretch of tarmac road as quickly as possible in a time measured to the nearest hundredth of a second. For competitors, the desire to save those tiny fractions can become a lifelong obsession. It's all about rocket starts, perfect lines and high corner exit speeds. In a moment we'll be showing you some of the cars, but first it's over to Nadine, who is with last year's Gurston champion, Jonathon Gates.
Jonathon Gates runs Peugeot main dealer Gates of Brockinghurst down the New Forest. And Jonathon, you actually sponsor Gurston meetings here and back the Hill's own championship, which you won for the first time last year, driving this Westfield.
Yes.
I understand the car runs a 2-litre engine, Vauxhall engine, prepared by New Techniques down in Southampton. Can you tell us a little bit more about the car and about driving here at Gurston?
Gurston's a hill that's all about speed. It's probably the fastest hill climb in the country. So to be fast here, you have to have an engine that can really pull high velocity, and that's why I had some extra work done by New Techniques at the beginning of this season.
How long have you had the car then?
Had the car since the 90s in various guises. It's been through several accidents, and it's constantly in the state of being refreshed, so there's bits left over from that time, but most of the componentry is new, and so a load more work done this year.
Okay, thanks.
Nick Mann's V8 turbo-powered Morris Minor, that viewers may remember, has now passed into hill climbing folklore. Breeding engineer Nick has now designed and built a brand new sports racing car, which features an onboard helicopter gas turbine to counteract turbo lag, and has already broken records at Chelsea Walsh and here at Gurston Down. Let's take a look at the car in action with Jerry Sturman.
As you can hear, the Manic BT is different. The only car in hill climbing to feature an onboard gas turbine, the sight and sound of Nick Mann's fabulous creation make it a real crowd pleaser. The turbine keeps air delivered to the car's 1700cc Cosworth BDT engine at a constant pressure to eliminate turbo lag during gear changing. Four-wheel drive via strengthened Ford Sierra transmission gives it phenomenal acceleration off the start line. Let's watch Nick and the Manic BT climb Gurston's 1100-yard course in a record-breaking 28.42 seconds. Nick took 10 years to build this car, and it's paid off with some phenomenal times, including those records here at Gurston Down and at Shelsley Walsh, where the Manic BT also holds the much coveted record for Shelsley Specials. Now it's back to Nadine to look at another spectacular machine that's unique to the sport of speed events.
Mike Eden runs a 700 brake horsepower Puma Gould, and he set a new record at Brighton Speed Trials last year, which is a quarter mile along the world famous seafront. He covered that in a blistering 9.45 seconds. Now the car runs an RS200 Cosworth Evolution engine, and it propels the car from 0 to 60 in just 1.8 seconds. It then goes on to reach 130 mile an hour in just over 6 seconds, and it crosses the quarter-mile finish line at around 150 miles an hour. Now, it's fast, very fast in a straight line, but let's see how it gets on here with the confines of Gerston.
The founder of top racing transmissions manufacturer X-Track, Mike Endine is now joint owner of Nicholson McLaren Engines, who in fact sponsor the sport's premier series, the British Hillclimb Championship. Mike developed this Puma Gould saloon with top Hillclimb constructors Gould Engineering, but it's no ordinary saloon car with its space frame chassis clothed in carbon fibre. John Hornby engineered the car's 2.2 litre twin-turbo Cosworth BDT engine, which drives through a traction-controlled X-Track hydraulic four-wheel drive transmission system. All this technology makes it one of the most exciting saloon cars on the hills. So Mike Endine completes another spectacular run in what's been a successful season in the car, with outright closed car records at both Shelsley Walsh and Loughton Park.
This is the latest car from ADR Engineering, who supply parts for Lola, Hewland and a whole host of other motorsport companies. Phil Chatterton's ADR is the first factory built to compete in the British Hill Climbing Championships. Phil is fast getting to grips with his ADR and pushing it to the limit.
Adrian Daniels' company builds ADR sports cars at Hollyport in Berkshire. They've already enjoyed racing successes abroad, both in South Africa and North America, but former Ginetta G4 driver Phil Chatterton is running the first example on the British Hill Climb scene in the competitive 2 litre Sports Libre class. The first ADRs were powered by motorcycle engines such as the 1300cc Suzuki Hayabusa, but Phil's ADR3 runs a 2 litre Honda VTEC K20 unit with over 240 brake horsepower available on fuel injection. Phil's still in the early stages of development with the ADR, but now it's back to Lucy for a look at the man who's dominated the sport at top level for the last 2 years.
Martin Groves is the current Gerston Hill record holder and the defending British hill climbing champion. One of the fastest drivers in his sport, this year he has already claimed 6 new records in his GR55 Gould. Let's see how he takes on Gerston.
Gould cars have dominated the British Championship for several years, and defending champion Martin Groves already holds the outright course record here at Gerston Down. Can he possibly do it again on this run? Well, this is a typically committed, inch-perfect run from the champion. He has to beat his own record to put pressure on series leader Scott Moran. It's a 25.42. He's done it by almost half a second.
Hi John, you've been competing for a number of years now, and you're also chairman of Woolbridge Motor Club.
Yep.
This year you're running the Hill Beam. Can you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yeah, it's a 1988 chassis with a Cosworth DFR engine, producing about 580 brake horsepower.
I gather earlier this year you had a little moment at Warrington Park.
Well, I opened it up, then I went to brake for the farmyard and found the throttle had jammed wide open, so I had to aim for a softish looking piece of hedge.
Have your sons, James and Andrew, they also race as well?
Yep.
How well are they doing?
James won the Wiscombe Park Hillclimb Championship, so he did very, very well. You know, you're talking about 100ths of a point and things like that.
Oh, every split second counts, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, pleasure. Thank you. All right.
Well, Gerston Down's been a fantastic hill climb, hasn't it?
Yeah, some great cars and great drivers. Speaking of which, you're going to be driving at Longley soon, aren't you, Nadine?
I am, but before that, let's visit Wiscombe Park for some of the action there.
Wiscombe Park in Devon, one of the most challenging hill climbs in the country. Let's look in on one of Torbay Motor Club's mid-May events. Saloon cars are always very popular in the southwest, and this is one of the quickest of them. Martin Pike with the 1800cc Mark I Ford Escort, already with a class record under his belt at Loughton Park's British Championship round a month earlier. Pike is going for the record here at Wiscombe now as he dives through the gate and into Wiscombe Park's wooded section. This looks like a quick run from Martin Pike as he comes into the very tight Sawbench hairpin. Perfect line on the exit, gets the power down early as he upped the castle straight towards the final sting in the tail, the left-hand hairpin at Martini. A rapid exit from Martini's over the line in 42.77. It's a new class record for Martin Pike, but already away from the line now it's Jonathon Wright, the hard-trying driver of the Golf GTI. Really pushing on in what is effectively just a road-going saloon car. He's hard on the brakes, locks up the back wheels now into the gate. Lifting an inside rear wheel through the S's, he's now into the tight right-hander at Sawbench, hard on the brakes, hurls the little front-wheel drive saloon round the hairpin. Now it's just the final run up Castle Straight towards Martini. So it's just the final left-hand hairpin at Martini to go. He's into the braking area, round the hairpin, spins the front wheels on the exit and over the line.